Jimmy Moyaha on SAfm.
And it's time to wrap up the show with a personal finance segment. This week is the turn of personal finance, not the digital drive. And we're going to be taking a look at the latest developments in the world of Sars, the South African Revenue Services. They have announced that as part of this year's tax season, there are some changes to eFiling. I'm joined on the line by Senior Tax Consultant at Tax Consulting SA, Tshepo Thebyane, to take a look at this and see if we can make sense of it. Tshepo, lovely to have you on the show. Let's start with the express access. What is that, and what do taxpayers need to know?
Yes, so this appears to be a new feature that is on the Sars eFiling platform, and this respective feature is to, for instance, make the Sars eFiling platform a bit more user friendly for taxpayers, and to waive any, for instance, excuses of not complying or for instance paying the necessary dues over to Sars.
Now, Tshepo, how is this all supposed to work? What are consumers going to, or taxpayers going to see on their e-filing platforms? How is this going to change the e-filing experience?
So this respective, feature is to facilitate, for instance, with making it easy for taxpayers to view their auto assessments, also to view any outstanding debts or any previous tax returns that are yet to be or are due to be for filing.
So from a tax perspective, taxpayers will be able to see some things and be able to make the necessary adjustments before, I suppose, submitting their returns. How does this then impact the collection process from a SARS perspective? Does it make it easier for taxpayers, quicker? I mean, the name Express Access suggests that it does streamline some of the process, as you mentioned. What then is the outcome, or at least the perceived outcome, that SARS is hoping to achieve here?
Correct. It's supposed to make it much more easier and user-friendly for taxpayers. Usually taxpayers are not too familiar with the e-filing system, and it's rather more complicated for them to for instance, navigate their way around the respective system. So this is to actually help increase collections, and I think it's a win on both sides. Based first on the taxpayer, they get to render their tax compliance status as par. Also a win on the SARS side, because then they also get to, for instance, increase their collections.
Tshepo, from a taxpayer perspective, is this an optional thing? Is this something that is a mandatory feature now that's going to be added? How do we navigate the optionality for those taxpayers that might be a bit more comfortable with the e-filing platform?
So this is just to, for instance, just make it gradually easier for those that, usually would face difficulties in navigating the respective SARS e-filing system. So in a sense, it's not to say it's not for mandatory or any of that sort purposes, but it's just to actually just, I think SARS is just putting themselves in the shoes of a taxpayer or an ordinary taxpayer, and, just making things more easy and accessible for them to render the necessary and render their tax compliance, this tax status as compliant. Yeah.
Tshepo, when are these changes effective, and do taxpayers have a bit of time to get a bit of an understanding of some of the changes and get themselves familiar with them?
So the thing is, it's going to be effective for this respective tax year. It's going to start obviously with the auto assessments, which are going to start to kick off from the 7th of July 2025, and with that they're going to be able, for instance, utilizing this express access to view their respective auto assessments, and to either, for instance, accept or reject based on whether, for instance, they earn they have any other reportable taxable income to declare, and where they don't, then they can just easily accept. And this would be actually a rather easy process for them to, feature for them to utilize, but then only once it becomes available for the respective taxpayers will we actually see the experience with the respective feature.
Tshepo, remind us again of those tax dates. What's the tax period now? I know we are opening up for the filing season. Just remind us of the dates there.
So we're now running into the commencement of the 2025 annual tax period, which started on the 1st of March 2024 and ended on the 28th of February 2025. So the The auto assessments are for those that, for instance, have, plain simple tax returns such as employment income that they earn and, for instance, don't have rental income and so forth. So those respective, auto assessments will start to, be submitted by Sars from the 7th of July up until the 20th of July. For individual taxpayers, the 2025 annual tax return will start to become available on the Sars eFiling platform from the 21st of July, and the deadline being on the 20th of October 2025. And if you have been auto assessed by SARS, what you can do, for instance, is you have up until the 20th of October. For instance, if you want to query or, for instance, reject that respective assessment to add any additional income, you can do so before or on the 20th of October 2025. The deadlines for annual tax filings are different for individual taxpayers and provisional taxpayers. With provisionals, they have an extended annual tax filing deadline date of the 19th of January 2026.
Tax filing season is upon us. It is important to remember that you can streamline the process thanks to the express access feature that the South African Revenue Services is going to be introducing this tax season. Tshepo, thank you for those insights and for the time. Tshepo Thebyane, Senior Tax Consultant at Tax Consulting South Africa, joining us to take a look at the upcoming changes from an e-filing perspective that are affecting taxpayers and what you need to know about that.
The Property Pod.
President Cyril Ramaphosa last week